Rubia Gallega, one of the best piece of meat money could buy. The cattle is around 12 years old and it's from the Galicia region of Spain. It's extremely meaty and full of marbling for something that's mainly grass-fed. To really do this justice, you want to render and cook the fat so that it's almost crispy, but you want the flesh to be on the raw side and the outside to be beautifully browned. To achieve this, we're gonna do what I call a modified beef tataki method. So this has been in the freezer for about 10 minutes. Now we prep the fat. The reason why we chose the sirloin instead of ribeye is you want to be able to isolate and cook the fat without ruining the rest of the meat. So to help us achieve that, we are going to trim off just enough to create a flat surface. This goes straight to the cold pan, and now we season the steak. Salt, pepper. Same on the other side. One wet hand, one dry hand. Now, to cook the fat, medium heat, cold pan. The steak goes in, fat side down, and you leave it for the fat to slowly render. The reason why I realize I like it almost raw is because my butcher Carl is a very good salesperson. He would always give me a slice raw just from the counter, salt it a bit, and let me taste, and I'm the easiest customer anyway. But I realized the flesh is actually at its best when it's almost raw. Even though it's 45-day dry aged, once it gets to even medium rare, it gets a bit chewy and it loses the beautiful marbling that you could taste when it's raw. So that's why we're doing the tataki method. As you can see, some of the fat is now rendering out. You can hear mild sizzling, that's what you want to hear. You don't want to burn the fat right away. You just want to help it maximize contact with the pan so they render evenly. So that's why we put it in the freezer, so that the heat doesn't cook the steak too much while we're rendering the fat. Well, the Rubia Gallega and the Galician rib, they have such a distinct smell of the fat that is just so appetizing. There's this gentleness to it, if one may use gentle to describe fat. It's not in your face. Now, most of the fat has been rendered out. We increase the heat high to properly cook the fat. It is gonna smoke a bit. Now that the fat is beautifully cooked, we start to cook the actual steak. Because this is tataki, you want to brown it as fast as possible to minimize the cooking. And that's it. We'll let this rest on the chopping board very briefly. A dash before we carve. In traditional tataki, the moment you finish cooking, you dunk this in ice water. But because we spent so much effort crisping up the fat, we'll skip that and sacrifice a bit of doneness. Now, to plate. We do very, very thin slices. Again, with all the prestige this piece of steak has, it's 12 years old and it's grass-fed. So we want to minimize the risk of chewiness if possible. First, we have the chef's piece, of course. Beautiful. That's what I call a tataki. As thin as you can. And that's a portion for one person. Oh, so nice. As you can see, we have beautiful browning on the outside. The fat has rendered and it's crispy. All you need is a bit of molten salt, and you are not to add anything else to this plate. You don't even need black pepper at this stage. We've peppered the steak beforehand. With something like this, you just want a nice bottle of red wine and you enjoy. This is Rubia Gallega Modified Tataki. I really hope you enjoy. This is honestly the best way to eat aged cow. No better way.